Miracles We Have Seen by Jack Terry, reproduced with permission from the author. Miracles We Have Seen, Chapter 4. Miracle on an Icy Indiana Highway. I had to leave home before daylight to get to my early class at Indiana Wesleyan University, located some 50 miles from the Little Eagle Creek Evangelical Friends Parsonage, where we lived. I had felt God calling me to go back to school to further my education. Little did I know that I would, in addition to church administration, have opportunities to enjoy 25 years of ministry in public school through teaching and coaching. I did not realize on that particular morning that I would be able to do undergraduate work at Indiana Wesleyan and later a master's at Ball State University. Those degrees would one day open doors for ministry in Russia at the invitation of their Department of Education. Later, I would also be honored to lead a team of American university students to teach some of China's finest teenagers. In both countries, the result was many lives changed by the gospel. On that particular wintry morning, however, I was concerned with one thing: getting to class on time. It was beginning to mist in the pre-dawn haze as I traveled east on State Road 32, then north on Highway 37 to Marion. I did not realize that just a few miles ahead, a thin sheet of ice already covered the roads. As I sped northward toward my college classroom, I came to the top of a hill overlooking the community of Riverwood, adjacent to White River. I realized, to my horror, that the road below me was covered with shiny ice. The car seemed to gain speed as I attempted fruitlessly to bring it to a halt. I felt the cold shoulder of fear as I realized I had little control over the vehicle. I could barely manage to steer the large 1959 Buick. I was afraid to touch the brakes. I could only hope and pray that nothing would obstruct my path until I reached level ground, about a half-mile ahead. Then I saw brake lights in front of me. A car was stopped a few hundred yards ahead. It was making a left-hand turn to cross the White River Bridge. My heart pounded from fear. I had to make a decision quickly. To hit the brakes might be fatal. I prayed a fervent prayer. Lord, save me! To my left was the swollen White River. To my right was a solid embankment. Directly in my path was a halted automobile. The left turn signal was flashing. It was waiting for a semi-truck that was approaching from the opposite direction. I had no choices. Suddenly, I felt compelled to press my brakes. I was still traveling at over 50 miles per hour, the sheet of solid ice beneath my wheels. The semi was coming toward me and in the opposite lane, yet I felt that I should jam my brakes. It made no sense. There was no time to think. I jammed the brakes. The laws of centrifugal force should have pulled me into the swollen, fast-moving river. The only other possibility was to pull into the path of the oncoming semi. I jammed my brakes. I felt the car make a swift U-turn on that frozen highway. Incredible, impossible. The old red Buick swiftly turned 180 degrees and pointed in the opposite direction. I was in total shock. I was not in control of my car. Unseen hands directed my automobile. The wheel spun. Traction was established. The approaching semi could not stop. The headlights loomed in my rear view mirror. It was only a few inches from my rear bumper. I actually outraced a speeding truck uphill on an icy slick highway. It seemed like an eternity till I reached the top of the hill and pulled safely to the side of the road. My car was now transformed into a chapel of praise and worship. I sobbed out my gratitude to my Heavenly Father, a loving Father who worked a miracle on an icy highway in Indiana. My teaching specialty later became science. I learned and taught the laws of centrifugal forces and gravity. What happened that day defied those natural forces, I agree. But what I experienced on that icy cold morning was a higher law. Perhaps that lawgiver said, "Oh, guardian angel, go and save my careless child. I still have some work for him to do." That was over 37 years ago. I am thankfully still working for my father in Jamaica, although the roads never freeze on this tropical island. Yet I still recall frequently that miracle morning long ago. I believe that each of us is assigned a guardian angel that accompanies us wherever we go. Today, as you drive on a crowded highway, walk through a shopping center, or perhaps fly on an airplane, be aware of your guardian angel, thank the Father, and it would seem appropriate to whisper a thanks to that special heavenly sentinel that has watched over you since the day you were born. Psalm 91, verses 11 and 12. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Psalm 91, verses 11 and 12.